Yo, what's up, guys? So, today I have my top 5 easy tips for making you a better player in Destiny 2 PvP. Now, I compiled this list with the top 5 things that I found myself teaching a lot of my clanmates and friends and people who pick up the game kind of as newbies or even people that are just now getting into playing the PvP side of Destiny. So they may have a ton of experience in the PvE aspect, but play PvP and aren't good at it, or just need some tips or anything like that. So this is the list I've put together. I am I would say average player. I'm not like amazing. I'm not trash, but I'm a good enough player that I think I have some tips and some advice to pass on to other players that are getting into PvP. And kind of the last thing I want to say right before I get into it is just be patient with yourself. A lot of these tips are they sound easy, and for the most part they are, but you're not going to see results overnight. So don't become frustrated with not seeing the results that you want to see right away. So you kind of have to keep at it, and over time you'll gradually adjust and you'll notice the difference. But with that being said, let's get into it. So the very first tip I have for people, and this makes such a big difference, is placement. Placement can make or break games. I've seen teammates that weren't very good, that didn't have a lot of confidence. I've seen them be in the right place at the right time, like I might be requesting them to be, or another teammate, and it makes all the difference in the world, because the other team, they don't necessarily know your entire skill set. They don't know what you're good and bad at necessarily, and your placement on the map or anything like that, cutting somebody off, different things like that is huge, especially when it's coming down to something like trials or something like survival, where every life matters. Your placement is extremely critical and can make and break rounds and games. All right, and so we'll move on to the second one. My second one, funny enough, is the 2-second rule. The 2-second rule is simply letting you know to move on from a certain lane or a certain corner or anything like that if you aren't seeing any enemy engagement or movement or anything like that within 2 seconds. And at first this seems like super crazy, right? But it's actually extremely helpful. It definitely upped my game by a lot. I would definitely argue that it's important to understand when to implement this rule, because if you're playing a certain game mode, like if you're playing like Trials, for instance, and you see where the 2 enemy orbs are and you're near them, and maybe you're the last one alive and they have one alive, it isn't necessarily a good idea to like move around the map a crap ton and take your eyes off those 2 orbs, because if that guy manages to rotate around, then he can get his teammates up, and that's bad. So you want to use the 2-second rule, but mostly for when you're not seeing any enemies and when not getting engagements. You want to keep moving around the map as much as possible, setting up as much as possible, trying to get any kind of engagement you can. All right, and my third one that I think is like really important, and I don't see people use it enough, is cover. This is so important. It's so easy. A lot of people have the 60 and 40 rule. I don't really care exactly how much you stay behind it, and how much percentage you have of it outside, in terms of like what you can see. All I care about is that you actually try to use cover. And it sounds really simple, but you wouldn't believe how often people don't use it. Even I forget to use it sometimes. It's not, it's not one of those things where like you'll learn it and, never be without cover again. But cover can save you. It's insane how I see people run out going towards two people shooting at them and get decked because they're out in the open, and they kind of don't understand what happened. It's like, bro, they had cover, you didn't. They're peek shotting, they're sliding around the corner, shooting, going back around the corner. It's very, very important that you are near cover and you can get in and out of that cover really quickly. One of the best movements you can do, let's just say as a hunter, is roll dodge to cover. That is something as a hunter main that I have learned to do over time, and it is extremely helpful. I will get into engagements where I'm just around the corner and I'm shooting them, down the lane, and then when I need to immediately get into cover, especially if they happen to pull out a sniper rifle as well, or dead mans or anything like that that's about to send a lot of damage downrange, I'm gonna hit that roll dodge into that cover that I know is there. Same with Warlocks and Titans. Well, best you can do with those is either blink back if you are using blink on the Warlock. I do that often, or honestly just try to turn around and get some momentum and slide around the corner. I don't see people slide often enough either, so sliding is very important as well. Fourth one you might find kind of interesting. It is loadout mastery. So one of the most frustrating things to do when you're teaching people is to see them fluctuate through like 100 loadouts in a week. They're trying to almost in a way theory build and figure out what really works for them, and that's fine. I think finding what works for you is okay, but I think oftentimes people give up on builds that would work well for them because they don't see immediate results. I know people and players who are like, man, I use this weapon and 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 this weapon, and they're they're a master of none. And with that being said, it's the thing where they have some experience using lots of different weapons, which is not bad, but they haven't mastered anything. They don't have a go-to. Their go-to doesn't exist. And a go-to and a mastered loadout is a loadout that you can use, that you understand from top to bottom, that gets you good results. And the only way that happens is through practice. You have to master your loadout. Once you've mastered a loadout and you're amazing with it, that's awesome. Then you move on to, doing something else, like if your setup is like something to do with like a pulse rifle and using a shotty, then try reaching out and doing something like a sniper rifle and a hand cannon or something like that. Something that gives you versatility, because that's what you want. You want to be that teammate that's versatile. You want to be that teammate that people like to pick for survival or trials, So loadout mastery and kind of just gaining some versatility. And the fifth one may sound really cheesy, it may sound really simple, but it's probably the hardest on this list because it's not just about you. Teamwork and chemistry is extremely important. You want to play with the same teammates as often as possible. That's why clans exist. That's why you have friends lists and stuff like that. Find a squad, even if it's only 2 other people, so you can do stuff like trials and survival. Find a squad that you're good with. Find a group that like you guys can agree on strategy and move forward with that. That's so important. I've played against people that I never should have beaten and beat them in trials, just because I was playing with people where we had such great chemistry that like we all knew what we were going to do before we did it. Half the time when your chemistry is that good and you've played that long together, there are a lot of things that don't need to be said that a new team has to constantly say to each other, and that's priceless. Like you want that in any team composition. So making sure that the teammates you have are not only open to the same kind of strategies you are, but are also looking to grow and are looking to become better players themselves. And I think that gives you a really nice squad to learn with and to create amazing teamwork with. Alright, and so those were my 5 easy tips kind of for Destiny 2 PvP. You can let me know in the comments below if you think any of these were important, or you thought that they were useful to you, or anything of the sort. And I would greatly appreciate any of the likes and any of the subscriptions. It's definitely going to help the channel a lot, and I'm looking to upload as much content as often as possible. So I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. I appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.